What are you doing?
No, you tell that camera not to work. Don't do it. Nope. Looks like it's just you and me, casualites. No, forget you, Michael. You're not coming back in. Forget you. No, it's just you guys and me. Remember that. So today on the casual discussion, we're gonna do a little something, something. No, I'm just kidding. Let's let this turkey in. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Hey, welcome back to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky.
Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red!
And I'm Michael. Realize the only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed.
Johnny.
Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
Erupting! Burning!
Now all of you.
Die.
One. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I am Lucky.
And I'm Michael.
Johnny.
And we make up Anime Casuals. Today we're going to be talking about, on our casual discussion, we're going to be talking about anime that changed the way that we look at anime. And so since I was the one that came up with this topic, I'll go ahead and start with the thing that actually brought me to this topic, which is I just recently binge watched. And by binge watch, I mean hard binge watch. I watched this. For some reason, I always find anime way too late. I watch them, like, I find a great anime at like 11 o'clock at night, and then I just end up binge watching it. I binge watch it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, bro, it's like 1 o'clock. I gotta go to sleep. Then I wake up the next morning, and then I finished off. Which is exactly what I did with this one. Yeah, it's called Orange, and I was, it was one of those animes that, I'd been saying I was in an anime rut recently. I just can't find any anime that are just really interesting to me. And I had given this one a shot about maybe 5 months ago, something like that. I watched like 5 minutes of it. I was like, okay, the animation is good looking. I didn't really like the main character. She looked a little like an alien to me, just because she has like really big green eyes, threw me off a little bit. But then I gave it a shot because I was like, you know what? Let me find a deep anime. And so I looked up anime about depression, and I was reading like the description of this one. I was like, "What? I thought this was a dating anime." Because I also got it's also under like romance too. So I was like, "Oh." So I did that, and bro, this one takes it to a new level, and it talks really a lot. I mean, a lot about suicide in particular, which threw me off. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like this really, and it did it in a very tactful way to the point where I was just like, "Wow, you guys knocked this one out of the park." And yeah, I was just, and not a lot of anime. No, it's not that they don't talk about suicide. We've had characters like Kakashi's father who committed suicide.
Yeah.
Different characters like that. Not really a whole series like based around that premise, because it's a very integral part of the series. And so yeah, I really liked the way they did it. And just it really made me change the way because like I said, I was in an anime rut, so it made me change the way I was looking at anime, because I was just thinking, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. And then I was like, you know what, anime is just so much more than like the things that I'm thinking about, and thinking that like, oh, this is what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get this trope out of this anime. I'm gonna get a cute little sister that wants her brother way too much, or brother that just wants it. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. This one, really didn't actually involve too many anime tropes, besides like maybe some Japanese high school things. But besides that, just knocked it out of the park. And yeah, really changed the way that I was looking at anime. And now I'm really excited to get back into some more anime and maybe do some more binge watching. So yeah, gentlemen, what are some anime that changed the way you look at anime in general?
There's this anime called The Lucky Nua Story. And
I heard about that.
Yeah, it just completely changed the way I view anime in the first place. It kind of got me inspired to make anime videos overall. And it's about this guy who moves from Samoa over to Nevada, and he chills there. He experiments with brothels, and then afterwards, like, he goes on an adventure like across the USA. And I really hope that this long-winded explanation will allow me enough time to think about my own. No, I'm just kidding.
gonna say all that sounded. I mean, granted, none of that's really true, but I was like, the Nevada and brothel thing. I was like, man, that's a little too close to what I was trying to do at one point. But yeah.
I wouldn't say like my first one that's in my head. I wouldn't say revamped or changed completely the way I view anime because mostly I got started in anime like with like things like Slayers and Tenchi Muyo, Rurouni Kenshin, a lot of like old '90s anime. But like the one that stuck most of all that was like, hey, guess what? Anime can be about everything you want it to be. Is Ranma One Half. And that had a little bit of fan service in it. That had a lot of comedy in it. It had some serious moments in it. It had like gender swapping and people transforming into animals and back and like all this silliness, but it also had fun fight scenes and like its exploration of martial arts. And all I had seen before that was anime that focused around one idea. Like Rurouni Kenshin, it had moments of levity in there, like whenever Kenshin was like oro oro oro, and like did his like little silly things like that. But a lot of it was kind of dark and had to do with like a lot of intense moments and the background of that war that was predating the anime, and so like a lot of anime I'd seen at that point was like very focused. Tenchi Muyo, all comedy. Gundam is usually highly serious, a lot of fights and a lot of teenagers going, oh! And so Ranma was the first one that had combined several aspects that I enjoyed with an overall comedy feel to it that also like kept up that strange 90s thing where they don't have a lot of dialogue and they just have panning views with like intense music behind it. And I was like, cool. It moved a little slow, but like it got into a lot of fun stuff and it really changed the way I thought about anime going, hey, you don't need to just have anime about one idea. You can combine it all and make something really cool. So that's a shout out to Ranma One Half, my favorite little thing I had when I was growing up. And, weirdly, my start into the anime world with a little bit of fan service thrown in. So good job, Ranma. Happy days, Ranma. I've been showing Johnny a few episodes of that.
First time I saw Ranma was actually at the library by my school. I thought I had found something strange.
It's a strange anime.
It was on VHS. I was like, oh, what have I found? And I took it home and watched it.
Yeah, and then you were like,
that's the story, yeah.
Yeah, why does this man have boobs? Why does this man not have boobs anymore? His boobs
And
keep coming
that's
back
when my
and forth.
life was changing.
Dude, you know what's so funny, Johnny, is like your story about Ranma was actually the way that I was introduced to it. My friend, shout out to Finest, he brought like a VHS from the library, and he was like, dude, you gotta check this out. And I think it was the episode with like the ice skating thing.
Yeah.
And he put that in. I was like, I had no context. I was like, what is going on? Like, how is he a guy? How is he a girl? Like, which is he? Which one was he originally? And he was like, dude, just watch it. And it was like an hour long because it was a 2-episode VHS. And I was just like, what? I was like, dude, I was so confused. But I gotta admit, like, at least for that time, it was very the animation was really good, especially for like an action anime. It was like on Dragon Ball Z level I mean, not Dragon Ball Z level of craziness, but Dragon Ball Z level of animation action stuff. So what did you think of, Johnny? Because you'd mentioned some characters. So
yeah,
it was definitely Yuri on Ice before Yuri on Ice.
So I didn't mean to, but I actually kind of went a different direction. It kind of became a almost like a looking back how things have kind of set a tone for anime for me. And I thought of just kind of like 3 instances that were really they were memorable moments that I haven't forgotten about, and they kind of set the bar for different anime.
Aww.
First one is Brotherhood. She who will not be named. That's the thing. So the whole scene with Nina, what happens with her is actually
You said her name!
I did.
Get out of here!
I know, right? I'm gonna go lash myself later. That guy from Castlevania.
Hey, some may say that Brotherhood was the original fusion.
That's awful. I don't want that fusion. No Patara, get it out of there. But yeah, Nina. And funny enough, I was thinking about that, and I didn't know why it was so memorable, considering I've seen a lot of other anime where a lot more people get killed. I mean, if we look at Dragon Ball Z, I mean, whole planets of people just die. So I was like, huh, care more about this little girl and her dog than the whole planet. That's fine. I'm okay with it. Uh, so that was one to kind of set the bar for just kind of intense, creepy, scary moments in anime, I guess, is what I'd say. Another one would be One Punch Man. Kind of, I mean, I know we have My Hero. My Hero is awesome. My Hero Academia is a great show, and it really showcases different heroes and different types of heroes and villains, like on the like. But we had talked about Moomin Rider. I think the last anime casuals we did the talk, and that's another big one. It really kind of showcases what it means to be a hero. It's not about doing it for fame, fortune. It's just kind of doing it because it's right. And I don't know. I respected that, and I was like, Moomin Rider. He's pretty awesome. He's number 2 favorite. I mean, obviously,
Aw.
it's Saitama. Sorry, but right after that, Moomin Rider.
I mean, he's also the most like the character in the anime that you can most relate to be honest. I mean, like he's just a normal dude with bike powers. Bike powers. Just this bike.
Not even a
And
powered bike powers.
yeah. And like that's the hilarious thing is he reminds me of what's the Power Rangers anime we watched a while ago? Like it was like the start of a guy who started getting powers, like where he has all these normal gadgets.
Yeah, you're talking about Samurai Flamenco,
Samurai
right?
Flamenco?
Yeah,
Yes.
Samurai
He's
Flamenco.
like
Dude,
the
I haven't
biggest
heard that name in
thing.
so long. And like it kind of reminds me of that guy. Like Moomin Rider is like that guy at the beginning, where he's like, you gotta go learn how to deal with criminals and how to fight. And he's just normal before it ramps up and becomes crazy. And like that's what Moomin Rider reminds me of, except that he lives in a world of all super people.
And no benefactor. No
Yeah.
one's giving him a cool Power Ranger suit or anything.
He has a bike and a name.
Someone needs to give that guy at least like a motorcycle. I don't know.
No, he's licenseless rider. He can't ride a
Oh,
motorcycle. He's got no license.
Do you need a license for a Vespa? I don't know. Fulikuli.
Fulikuli.
And then my last one I'll talk about actually is
It's Fulikuli. Yeah.
I couldn't help being kind of silly with it. Is Seki-kun. Just because that really showed you can make an anime about anything, and that's great. It's such a simple concept, and it's so outside of the box, I guess. It's just one I always think about every time I watch like another sports anime or whatever anime about anything. I don't know. And so yeah, Tanari no Seki-kun. That'd probably be my third one.
No.
And then I'm done. I said no Seki-kun.
No Seki-kun.
No Seki-kun?
No.
Sorry, guys.
Seki-kun?
No Seki-kun. It's out of here.
Nice. Well,
Take
I
my
mean,
choice away.
we're gonna go for another round. So if you want to think of some more, I'm gonna name another one.
He did all 3 rounds.
Yeah, he did all 3 rounds.
in one.
Nice, nice.
Nobody
nice.
told me.
One of the ones I actually almost lost it because you made me laugh really hard with that Tonari no Seki-kun. One that really for people that don't know, I was at one point a philosophy major before I dropped out, and so I've always really liked these animes that like really make you think like way too much, like overanalyze things, because that's what I love to do. Like, I'm that person that like if you say a sentence or something like that, I'll be like, so why did you start your sentence off with the word the? Is there any significance to that? Why would you start it with that instead of that kind of BS? But one that I really really changed a little bit of the way that I looked at kind of life in general, and just the way that anime is structured is Classroom of the Elite. And the reason why I really like that one is just because of one thing, if you've never watched it, is they have usually quotes right before the episode starts, and it basically kind of encapsulates what the episode's going to be about. And it has all these quotes from different philosophers, different really prolific thinkers, and it's so cool. It was so cool to really look at like it'll have like a Friedrich Nietzsche quote, and you'll be like, okay, how is this? And it gets you like ready for the episode in a way that you're just like, I'm expecting this to happen. And it totally, like, a lot of the episodes really do follow the quotes, and it's such a interesting thing. It's gonna probably suck for them to keep going. Like, if this keeps, if obviously season 2 hasn't kept going, hasn't been announced or anything like that. But man, all of the creative stuff that they have to think about, like, all right, let's look for some more philosophers. And coming from a philosophy major, sometimes you can go brain dead from reading some of this stupid stuff. I remember we used to have to read like Immanuel Kant, and he would talk about the thinginess of things, and you'd have to sit there. And dude, even the philosophy professor was just sitting there like, "What in the world? Like, what am I teaching these kids?" Dude, even he was
Oh,
like,
man.
"So anybody got anything for this?" And it's like, okay, it's bad when the teacher has to ask the class if they understand this better than they do. But yeah, it really changed the way that because obviously we had Full Metal Alchemist that really brought in a lot of philosophy into it too.
Mhm.
The idea of truth, and all that kind of stuff. But and equivalent exchange, all that stuff. But yeah, just really seeing like just thrown in front of you philosophy, philosophy quote, was really cool, and it really kind of changed some of the ways. And then also the fact that it can be very philosophical, but also be pretty action packed at times and very cerebral in its approach to stuff. So I mean, I think that'd probably be my next one. So
Well, Johnny, my next one is um I stuck with 90s anime like this whole time, although I don't know where one of the anime like is year wise. And I wanted to start off with not Cowboy Bebop, which Cowboy Bebop is a huge one, amazing. But because I actually watched this anime before that, I wanted to give a shout out to Trigun. So I've talked about Trigun before, but Trigun was my first exploration into an anime. It's mostly thematic with like having really cool fight scenes, but on the same line as Lucky, it deals with some really intense morality as you get into it. The first like maybe 8 to 10 episodes, again, I've shown Johnny like the first half, is pretty straightforward. I mean, like it gets into a little comedy, it gets into why Vash Stampede is being attacked by everybody, why he's worth like $2 billion or something, double dollars. And then it starts getting into like his brother just sending like a line of villains at him, and each one has its own unique issue, like why they're fighting him. Do they need to fight? Is there some kind of like reason in their their background, the like why they're still doing this? And one of the big key points is like he's fighting this guy who fights with a saxophone, and the saxophone, every time he like plays it, wind kicks up and it can like blow through people, it can like annihilate somebody. It also has a gun in it, and he can shoot people with it. And this whole time, like Vash was trying to like argue with him. He's like, "Hey, we don't need to fight. Like, I don't know why we're doing this." And he's like, "Well," and the saxophone guy was like, "We have to. I'm sorry. Like, this is just the way things need to be." And it plays off like this morality that you've seen in different anime characters who try to go forth, like Rurouni Kenshin. Peace is the number one thing they're trying to get done. Like Rurouni Kenshin flips his blade around to not need to fight people. And Vash tries to do the same thing. He's a really expert gunman, kind of like McCree or something, where he doesn't need to kill somebody. He doesn't need to, shoot somebody in the chest. He can like shoot the gun out of your hand. Like that's how good he is. But the entirety of Trigun is all about him trying to find peace while dealing with war and poverty all around him. And that was like one of the first anime that really got me thinking about life and how intense, and like kind of like small spoiler for Seven Deadly Sins, like that moment where Meliodas blows up that city. Like Vash has the same thing. He blew away an entire town because his brother basically forced him to, in like a fit of rage. And like those moments, I'm like, those are so weirdly humanizing, even though Vash isn't technically a human. To really think about like, what if that happened to you? What if you suddenly had a gun for an arm that's as powerful as a nuke, like, and you blew away a town full of people? So And yeah, I just really love the way Trigun dealt with a lot of morality issues
You
and
know,
don't.
speaking of morality and blowing away towns, I just have a real quick off-the-top question. So, did you guys blow up Megaton in Fallout 3 or no?
I'm so glad I never played Fallout 3.
Oh, okay, Johnny, I'm looking at you. What did you do? Did you blow away that poor city, those poor seps?
I don't totally remember.
Oh,
Honestly,
okay.
I could be like, I definitely would have let them live because like why? Then I can't go there anymore. But at the same time, I would have done it just to see it. So I don't remember. Oh
Yeah,
man, I've seen it
I think.
before, so I know what it looks like, but I don't
Yeah, no,
remember what I did.
I didn't do it, and then I looked on YouTube to see what happened, and I was like, "That's a pretty cool explosion." I gotta admit, a pretty nice explosion. But yeah, no, that's definitely something. Did you think of anything else, Johnny? Of any
Um,
other anime
I
characters
do.
or
It's
anime?
also it's another silly one.
Yeah, go for it.
Psyche K.
Psyche-kun,
J-
Psyche K.
Funny enough, I had actually thought of both of those, but when I said Seki Kun, I meant Psyche K. So I had messed that up originally. Full circle. Here we go. So Psyche K. Just because honestly, it's really the moment where, or the couple episodes where he talks about how he basically just made every anime trope. It really was kind of like, oh my gosh, now I need to look for these all the time. I mean, I know like the main character usually has like red hair or something, or some crazy hairstyle that, picks them out from everybody else, but there's a lot of people that have that. And I'm like, huh, that's funny. So
Yeah.
it just kind of got me to look for it. I mean, it's not really a big impact, but more like it's made anime kind of a Where's Waldo. So it's fun. So yeah, that'd be my last one, I guess.
Oh,
What's your
where's
last one, Logan?
Waldo? Oh my goodness. Oh
Where's
man,
Waldo?
dude, you keep on making me almost lose my anime every time you go on with your ridiculous stuff.
One
So
of these days.
You're
one of
ridiculous, Johnny.
so one of the things, if nobody's ever seen this movie, I mean, I don't blame you. It's a long movie and it's not anime, by the way. It's from this guy named Akira Kurosawa, and it's called the Seven Samurai. And he also did a couple other things that what was it? Yojimbo. And if nobody knows, if you ever watch Naruto, there's a samurai named Mifune. He's named after Toshiro Mifune, who's like the main actor that Kurosawa always like got. He always put him in these films. Um, and But one of the things that was really cool about those things is because we usually think of like samurai battles as these really long, drawn out things. Not in those films. Literally, they end in like 2 seconds. Like whoever gets slashed first, you're dead. And so that brings me to my anime is Samurai Champloo. It was I originally saw it on Adult Swim, and my brother was the one who told me about it, and I was like, I'll see how it goes. And I remember just watching an episode where actually like so there's like three main characters. There's a girl, and she's asking these two samurai to help her find her father who smells of sunflowers. Long story, but she ends up they end up escorting her to do all these things, and you think of these characters as like these really badass people, but actually they lose a couple fights in this anime because some of the people they face are just unpredictable. They fight a guy. One of them fights a guy from China. Has this crazy technique. In Japan, it's not very common to carry your sword with one hand, but in China, that's kind of the way they do it. And so he had this very weird technique that threw him off. But and luckily he was let live, and then he ended up beating him later. But in some of yeah, but in some of the fights, there's one that happens later where they fight this really unorthodox like blind girl that uses a staff and just whoops both of their butts, like whoops them both, like really bad. And you're just like, wow, it's so interesting because and granted, there is a really long fight in the very beginning of the anime because it's like a clash of two styles, like the guy with the glasses, Gin. Gin or Gene, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but he's very traditional sword guy, and then Mugen, played by Steve Bloom, who's done Spike Spiegel and all the other stuff. Like he's very like all over the place. He's using his slippers to block swords, like because they're the hardwood ones. And he's doing all this crazy stuff. So it's just like, and also there's a bunch of objects in the way. But yeah, just the realism of that instead of like things like Rurouni Kenshin, where like you could get like a whole 2 episode fight, and you're like, how does this last 2 episodes? Like we'll show you next time,
They're
and
slashing the crap out of each other.
yeah, and granted they have a great excuse because of the double blade or the reverse blade sword and all that kind of stuff. Yada yada yada. But how is he not getting cut through all that? So yeah, I really like the realism and just how gritty Samurai Champloo was, and it really made me realize that there were, these characters. Some characters in anime are not going to be as like indestructible as like Goku, or something like that. Like they're not really going to be all. They're going to face people that maybe may not be out their level, but they have sharp swords that are just going to be able to cut them. So it's a kind of a 50-50 stretch. So yeah, any other ones from you guys?
I got one last one, which I'm sure you'll both appreciate. It's Oran High School Host Club. That's weirdly I watched that really late, like not when it came out, but a lot later. I think like late 2000s is when I finally watched it, and I don't remember when it actually came out, but it's just a fun show, and just showing that guys can be with guys, and showing off like beautiful dudes, and then that one lady can slip in there and act however way she wants. Like it really shows off like that gender stereotypes really aren't there, but they are. And I find it like hilarious watching the show because it does have dated language at this time. Like rewatching it, I was like, whoa. But like watching it now, because I just did a rewatch of the whole thing, I'm like, oh, I really appreciate like all the story moments where they're like, hey, did you realize you hurt that person's feelings? And they're like, oh, I didn't. And it's like it's just breaking down like a communication between two people just so to its base form. It's like, hey, realize that there's other people with other feelings. And you're like, oh, I guess there are other people with other feelings. And it's just a great little anime. And it what's hilarious about it is that like that the dudes at some point they dress up all like women, and it's not even a big thing. Like they do it for the sake of one of their members to make her feel included, because like, oh, we think we're gonna lose her to an all-girl school, and she's like, oh, you guys are all dumb. And like and there's like not a qualm if we take us and we throw us back in middle school, everybody's like, oh, ew, like, and they would call people names. It's like, oh, you're dressing them in dress. But then these dudes who are in high school are just like, yeah, whatever, we're doing it for our friend. Like, it's not even a big deal. And she dresses up like a dude all the time, and that's not a big deal. And I'm like, I'm loving this anime because it's really breaking like what it means to be a person in general, not what it means to be a male or female, not what it means to be. It matters about who you are as a person, not what people label you as. And I think that's like a general overview about it. Like the twins in it have communication problems because they've never really dealt with other people, because people can't tell them alike, or no, they look exactly the same. And so like they've got to learn how to talk to each other, talk to people who aren't themselves. I'm like, so I really, really enjoyed that anime altogether, because it was such an early form of tackling things that are commonplace today.
Nice. Did you have any other ones, Johnny, or are you all spent?
Nina. No, I just wanted to say it again.
No, I'm good.
Street
Okay.
Sharks?
Yeah.
Samurai
good.
Jack?
Yeah.
Street
good,
Sharks,
there you
anime
go.
or not?
Find out next time. So yeah, that there you go,
It's
guys.
Sharkame.
Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Okay. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be absent next week for some family reasons.
What?
So Michael and Johnny will be taking over. I'll still
I
be
love you.
doing a regular podcast. I'll still be doing a video that I'll have. And whoa, people trying to kick me out already. This is crazy. man.
Wait. Who's
Having a
going to
mutiny.
who's
the
going to
hint.
Texas
Bye.
though? Because we gotta keep this like 2 camera.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You guys can just do it in 2 separate parts of the. You can do it in the living room, Johnny, and then you can stay in there, Michael, and it'll be fine. It'll be great.
Hold on, I
One of
need
us
that
is going
curtain
to
behind you so that way we
Texas.
look like we're there.
Oh, there you go. Just get the
Big
big red,
red.
drapes and the dream catcher
Just
on
get a
top.
hat. That'll be enough.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys can check out some of our other videos that'll be out this week. I'm not too sure exactly what we're working on, but we'll
Ooh,
we'll
are we
definitely.
working on stuff?
Yeah, we're working on stuff. So we got stuff in the work. So plural works. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on wherever podcasts may be distributed. But as always, guys, don't forget 628. Leave a comment down below and let us know
Hey.
let us know what your let us know what anime that let us know the anime that maybe changed your outlook on anime and the way you look at anime. But also remember to keep it casual.